ਫੈਡਰਲ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਇੰਟਰਿਮ ਨੇਤਾ ਬੌਬ ਰੇ ਹਾਲ ਹੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਸਨ ਅਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ। ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਈ ਗਈ ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਇਸ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਰਿਵਾਈਵ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਏ। ਪੇਸ਼ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ। How are you trying to revive the Liberal Party and what efforts are being put into it?
Well, it's the first thing we have to do is rebuild the party at the local level. The ridings have to become stronger, and that's the first thing that we're really doing. Trying to get the party's finances in better shape. I mean, the basic sort of nuts and bolts of a party organization. That's really been my job for the first year. The party has no debt. We are raising more money every month than we're spending. We're bringing in more money all the time. We're seeing some greater strength at the local riding level, getting stronger and doing better. So that's really been the focus of the rebuilding so far. The next stage will be the leadership race will start in the fall, and then from there we'll build on to the platform, to the ideas that will bring us together and present to the Canadian people in the next election.
So what issues are coming forward? The demise of the party, you must have looked into it. What basically were the reasons, what you find, and you're working on those?
Well, I think the first reason was because we didn't have enough strength in the local riding associations, and we didn't make an aggressive enough shift when the funding changed. Obviously, that's part of it. But the other part of it is the leadership issue, and then clearly the ideas in the platform. Those are the three big areas we have to work on, and we're taking each one in turn. We're tackling each problem, and making sure that we're solving those problems.
And there were talks of NDP merging with the party and your party going into it. So any talks still going on, or you feel there's no need for this?
No, I think it's really after the last election when the NDP went up so much and we came down. I certainly don't see any enthusiasm in the NDP for this. I think they say, well, no, they think we can do it on their own. So I think we have to recognize that we have got to get our house in order, got to get our act together, and then I think we will be able to run an effective campaign in 2015. It takes two to dance, and so far there's been no interest from the NDP, and what goes on in the NDP is not in my control. So we have to just carry on doing what we're doing.
The NDP has asked for, again, in the Parliament, for an apology for the Kamagata Maru in the House of Commons. What is your opinion about it?
Well, we've already done that, right? I mean, we have the measures that we brought forward. Ruby Dalla's proposal that is there in the House. It is clearly an expression of the will of the House that there should be a formal apology on Kamagata Maru. We maintain that position. The NDP has now moved a similar motion, so now we have two approaches. I think it's time that for this issue to be resolved, that the Prime Minister needs to say something in the House of Commons, and I think it's past time that was done. I think it's entirely appropriate that it be done, and I hope we can move forward with that.
So if a motion is introduced in the Parliament, your party will be supporting that?
Absolutely. We moved the previous motion, so of course if somebody else moves a motion to be the same as ours, we couldn't move the same motion again because it's already been approved by the House of Commons.
Right.
But if the NDP moves the motion, then we'll obviously be supporting it.
How do you rate this government's functioning as far as their immigration policies are concerned, and overall also for the Canadian economy? Because a lot of things are coming out which are showing the true picture of that party. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think the government's approach on immigration has been very dishonest. I think they're pretending to be a big open immigration party, but they're not. They're still the old Reform Party. They still have very negative views, basically, I think, about letting the country open itself up. So we have family reunification has been made almost impossible for a period of time. We have workers being brought in, but only temporarily, on temporary work permits rather than being allowed to come in on a permanent basis. And we don't have the broad and generous view of immigration that we've always felt needs to be in place. So there are some significant differences between us and the Conservative Party, and we need to be outlining those very clearly as we go forward. And we need to be making the question of immigration, I think, a much bigger issue now and in the future. And on the economy, I think it's important to remember that the economy is not some abstract thing out there. It's really about how are people doing? Are they working? What's happening to young people? Are they getting jobs? How affordable are things these days? For many people, for example, in Vancouver, housing is almost unaffordable. It's a major problem for people.
And as far as the transparency is concerned, this government was harping upon this concept of transparency, but right now lots of scandals are coming out whereby ministers are overspending, and as far as the defense purchase of jets was concerned, that's also mind-boggling. So what do you feel? What's happening, and how is your party tackling to these issues?
It's the least accountable government I think I've ever seen. I've never seen a government that was as little interested in accountability as this government. So clearly we have real problems. The contempt of Parliament, which caused the last election, that contempt still continues. That hasn't been changed, and I think people understand that.
As far as Afghanistan is concerned, what does your party stand on that?
Well, first of all, we were the ones who proposed that the role should be shifted from a combat role to a training role in Afghanistan, and now I think it's important. We still have 2 years to complete the training work that we started. And if I can use perhaps a comparison that people will understand, at some point the training wheels have to come off, and the people have to ride the bike on their own.
The South Asians have been very close to the Liberal Party, but of late what we are finding, because there was a vacuum in the leadership also, and also what happened in the previous elections, the people are shifting over to other parties. What would be your message to the South Asians?
Well, we're learning, we're listening, and we want people back. I mean, we understand full well that we have to earn our way back. We understand full well that we have to connect on the issues, we have to connect with the people, and we don't take any votes for granted. I mean, there are no safe seats anymore anywhere, and it's a very competitive three-way race between us, the New Democrats, and the Conservatives in a great many parts of the country. So we have to work harder to win back people's confidence and people's respect and people's support. But we're still the party that is in favor of a very generous and open sense of immigration and sense of participation in our society. We're still a party that's firmly committed to human rights, to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which has been such an important part of the Canadian personality and the Canadian Charter. And we recognize the need to really be encouraging strong people to come forward as representatives of the South Asian community in our caucus. So we're going to continue to work on that basis.
And the government, what is saying is that we are bringing in these reforms because there was a lot of backlog which was put in by the Liberal Party when it was in power. So what do you have to say about that? Is it, do you believe in this, what they are saying, or there is something hidden behind what they are trying to implement?
No, I mean, what they're doing is they were elected saying that they would bring the backlog down, and all they've done is take people off the list. I mean, anybody can take people off a list and say we've solved the problem. They haven't solved any problem. They are putting in a moratorium on applying for families to come over. When you have a lot of people applying to come to a country, you're going to have a bit of a backlog, and that's the situation that we have to every party has to deal with. But the Conservatives have clearly broken their word and broken their way when they took people right off the list.
And lastly, is the Liberal Party united now to take on to the government?
Yeah, I think the sense of unity is very strong. Obviously, you know, when there will be a leadership race, there will be choices and there will be different people supporting different people. But I don't think there's any great animosities or deep divisions in the party anymore, not that I can see.